Okay, what's good, everyone? Welcome to Awesome Game Replays, episode 13. Glad to be here, and this is episode an idea that have had a long time coming. Wanting to cover some light gun games on Awesome Game Replays. Just in general, I really wanted to, just because it's just like shoot 'em ups and like the games we feature in AGR. Light gun games also offer an incredible depth and action and skill progression that is awesome to see as a genre of video games. And going to be having pretty much the famous player in the shmups community, at least, of GunCon games, SMraedis, is here also, known for playing Darius games and arcade games in general. So yeah, welcome SM. Great to have you for this Time Crisis episode.
Hey there, thank you very much.
Um, yeah, where should we start here? You want to talk about, well, a few things we're going to talk about in this episode. We do have two replays that we're going to be showing, high-scoring replays from SM, and in fact, we're taking a look at Time Crisis 2 right now in the demonstration, and they're seeing you just kind of go nuts on this game already. You'll see that the enemies go down pretty quick, but we'll talk a bit about. I want to hear about a bit how SM first started playing the Time Crisis games, and because SM, we talked about it a little bit in the past, but you pretty much grew up in the arcades and spent a lot of time in arcades.
Yeah.
Basically, and I guess would you say your youth?
I probably have spent a lot of time in arcades. I'll just give a brief introduction of myself and playing these sort of games.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
I'm SMraedis. I'm probably quite known for playing light gun games. I originally started playing games in arcades when there were shmups there, so I liked playing all the shmups, like all the Darius games would take my attention all the time. And then I noticed that all the shmups seemed to be disappearing from the local arcades, and all these light gun games were appearing, like Virtua Cop 1 and 2, Lethal Enforcers. I didn't really get along with them, but once Point Blank 1 came out, I felt that game really appealed to me because it's quite simple and it's easy to play, but pretty difficult to get a good score on. So a lot of my youth was stuck on that, and then Time Crisis 1 came out, and that really blew me away. But I found it a bit difficult, so I stayed on Point Blank until Time Crisis 2 came out.
Okay.
And then once that came out, I was stuck on Time Crisis 2 for a very long time.
Okay, when did Point Blank come out? What time frame are we looking at here?
That was 1994.
1994. Okay, so you mentioned how shooting games started to disappear in the arcades. That also usually people relate that to Street Fighter 2 making its appearance in like 91 or 92, right?
Yeah,
So
indeed.
fighters were also appearing, but around the same time when fighters were appearing, it sounds like light gun games were also becoming a thing at
Yeah,
the same time.
I preferred playing games like one player more so than fighting games because your credits lasted longer. So me being young and not having much money, I'd just try and play a game as long as possible. So on Point Blank, you could spend ages because it was so many credits. For one credit, it was really good. So that's kind of why I stuck on that game.
I see. Oh yeah. If you're trying to play a fight, like trying to play a popular fighting game, there's going to be somebody who's like somewhat already decent at it, and if you don't know anything, you're just going to get wasted and feel like, well, hell, what am
Yeah,
I? What am I to do?
I couldn't beat the
Except,
computer in those games either. So
oh man,
so that's probably
yeah.
why I stuck on light gun games.
Okay,
But
so yeah, so you played Point Blank, and then Time Crisis eventually showed up.
yeah, and then once the internet came up, I noticed there was a bit of a scene of people playing light gun games. So I attached myself to that. There was a scene
Really?
in my hometown of Manchester where there was like quite a lot of players who were really amazing at these games, and me back then, I was pretty bad in comparison. So I spent a lot of time watching how they played and tried to mimic it.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like in the mid 2000s, I was starting to get better than them at the games.
Mid 2000s, so that's flash forward another like 6 or 7 years then.
Yeah, I did go off Lightgun games for a while and went just full shmup.
Nice.
But of course, they were still not in the arcades, so I had to have something that was keeping me busy there.
And yeah, you said you originally attracted to them because you got a nice amount of playtime when you played,
Yeah,
right?
indeed.
And that was, probably because you always, and I mean, in Time Crisis here, you get the 4 pieces of health. You can take 4 hits, and once you know how to play Lightgun games, as I understand, a rough understanding, you can stay on that 1 credit
Yeah,
for a
there's
decent
it's
amount of time and experience a really immersive arcade experience for a while.
indeed. Once you get the hang of Lightgun games, you should be able to clear Time Crisis 2 on 1 credit at least. The third one is quite a bit harder, but there are ways to learn the game quite quick, which I'll say later on.
Sure, you're getting a question from System 11 in chat. He's asking, did you play at the Trafford Center?
Yeah, I did. I played at the Traff a lot. That's where we hung up a lot of the time, where we'd meet up there and we'd go to other arcades because the Trafford Centre had so many kids who would just annoy you when you played. But I did play there.
So that was like a mall of some sort, and then the
Yeah,
arcade was located inside.
Yeah, it's a big shopping centre. It's
Okay,
quite far from it's quite close to where I am now. It was quite far back then.
so it sounds like an infamous location then.
Yeah, it had a Time Crisis 2 for a very long time. They got rid of it about a year ago, sadly.
Only a year ago. So this
Yeah.
is still around this place.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so yeah. Well, do you have any other like historic stories about getting into Time Crisis? Like I don't know, any specific things you wanted to mention? Otherwise, we could probably get to talking about the game itself, Time Crisis
All
2
right.
here.
The only other thing is that when I was playing these games in the arcade back then, my friends kept on telling me to like create videos and upload them, and I was like, no, no one will watch them. I kept on getting asked to put things on YouTube, and I'm like, I'm not interested in that. And then I finally gave in 2007 and spent just a few hours doing videos on Time Crisis 1, 2, and 3, and I uploaded them, and then they got like thousands of views, and then tens of thousands of views, and then like 100,000.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, what's going on here? So then I really took my time to make videos after that.
Right, right. I mean, Lightgun games. I mean, we could talk about Lightgun games in general, perhaps a little bit here. You know, I mean, they're fun. They're right away, like you can tell, they're fun types of games, but
Yeah.
also difficult in certain ways that aren't obvious from the first play or second play. Like if an enemy like flashes a certain way, you're supposed to shoot them first and that type of thing. So I would imagine that you got crowds when you would play Time Crisis and be able to beat at 1 credit. Like, did people take notice in the arcade when you would do well in the games?
Yeah, I always get comments all the time when I play. And you find that more people want to play the game when you do really well on a game.
Yeah. Like
So
how do you do it so well? Would they ask? I would imagine.
people usually ask like how much money have I spent on the game? And
Oh, to
it's
get that good. That's a
well,
valid it's a valid question.
once you do get good at a game, it doesn't take very long to get good at another game, as you probably are aware of.
Sure.
But it's getting good scores that takes a lot of time. And that's what I like in the Time Crisis games, that the scoring system is just crafted in a way that you can clear the game or you can get a really good score, and then you can even better that score by just changing your techniques.
So you have a skill progression there. Cool. Which is it's always good. Like a
Yeah, and
like a shmup, and even fighters. I mean, you start playing it a certain way just for survival and working to score. Like, yeah.
yeah, it can take like hundreds of hours to get a really good score in these games, and not
Mm.
many people do that.
Hmm. Um, would your arms how long could you play until like your arms were sore from holding
Um,
the gun up and stuff? What about that?
well, one of the arcades that had Time Crisis free had it at 3 credits for £1. So for 1 credit,
Oh,
you got 3 credits.
oh,
It
I
was set
see.
on it was set on the hardest difficulty and 3 lives, but I could still 1cc it pretty much every single time.
With 3 credits as well, you said.
Yeah, so you'd play the game from start to finish 3 times on 1 coin,
Ah,
and then you could just play that again. So 6 credits, 6 full plays in a row, and I'd have no issues with my arms at all.
okay. So you had a good form then.
Yeah, but I find when other people play the games, they always complain about their arms after about 5 to 10
Or it's
minutes.
like the classic is like seeing people like do like their little trigger methods. Like they might wiggle their like just their index finger against the trigger to try to get lots of shots at once, and that takes its toll on you, obviously. So
Yeah, it's not required as a scoring method in any other
or
game other than
to,
like Time Crisis 1, because
so
of
as an
course you can't shoot
example.
any faster than that with just pulling the trigger normally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really required in any game. And it can damage guns as well, so it's not the best idea.
And now, Time Crisis is also particularly special because this is a series, the Lightgun series, that you have paid attention to the most. Is that also correct?
Yeah, it is. The reason why I originally went into the Time Crisis games and not like Virtua Cop or House of the Dead is that I preferred that you could hide by releasing the pedal, and from that you can play the game safe or as a slow way instead of like House of the Dead where all the bosses you have to shoot 6 times, or if you miss once you'll get hit. And
Mm.
I always felt that was unfair, so I
So the
never.
cover mechanic you're saying was the big thing.
Yeah, it makes the game a lot more manageable, and
Mm.
you can find that you can 1cc the game without any issues. Like if you've got a dodgy gun, you can still 1cc it, but if you've got a dodgy gun for House of the Dead, you're not going to get very far at all.
So yeah, the emphasis of the cover mechanic really helped you learn
Yeah,
it and helped you learn it and enjoy it. So
and of
okay,
course it's getting as long as possible on the credit as it was back in the
yeah, it sounds
arcade
like that
days.
backfired on the arcade operator there, giving three
Yeah, and
credits.
the Trafford Centre arcade increased the difficulty on Time Crisis 3 because of the average credit being so long. That's thanks to our scene.
Ah, I see. Now, yeah, you did have a question. How do you avoid the arm aches? Do you just get used to do it, or is there a certain way you do it? Like, if only we could have like a camera on you and see you hold one right now or something.
I
Like,
just learned it over time, I
did
guess.
you do what did you do? Did what came comfortable? Or
I usually hold the gun with one hand.
okay,
I then hold it with two
you
if
do
I'm just
one-handed
trying
method.
to.
Okay,
Yeah, it depends on how accurate you have to be.
okay.
And if you try other guns like the Crisis Zone gun or the one from Racing Storm, they're much heavier. So the original arcade gun is pretty light, so it's not too difficult.
Right, the Time Crisis one is pretty much just like a pistol, a small kind of pistol thing. So,
Yeah, it's
as I
used in
recall.
1, 2, and 3, and then they changed the gun in Time Crisis 4.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. Um, yeah, so Time Crisis is your forte, so that's cool. And then you play a lot of other Lightgun games as well. But we're here to talk about Time Crisis. So why don't we get to talking about Time Crisis 2 then in particular? What should we know right off the bat about this game and Time Crisis type of mechanics in general as an introduction?
No problem. So on Time Crisis 2, they added the red bullets. So when an enemy's shooting at you and they're going to hit you, the red bullet appears in a circle.
Yep, we see it right there.
Yeah, that wasn't in Time Crisis 1, so you couldn't always tell if he was going to get hit. So you just look out for that and you can dodge it. There is some technique to dodging these bullets where you can wait for it to get really close to you and then do a really quick on-off on the pedal or the button if you're playing on a port without a pedal. And you can get back into the game just the instant the bullet has just gone past. And I know there are some bits in this Time Crisis 2 replay where I do that, and it does look quite good.
So, yeah, you're saying, like, basically when you are going into cover, you're invincible the whole period?
Yeah, in Time Crisis 2, you can only get hurt if you're absolutely all the way out.
Gotcha. So that's important to know.
Yeah, they changed that in Time Crisis 5 for some reason. But all the other games in the series, apart from Racing Storm, which is a bit different because it has a delay on the pedal.
Now, the games are called Time Crisis. Obviously, that plays into the story of the games probably somewhat, but you also have a timer going on in Time Crisis 2 here. Also a combo system. I'm not sure if we should wait to just get this replay going again and start talking about that. Should we just restart the... Should we start watching the replay from the beginning? I suppose we'll just go right into it.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, let's do that then. All right, so... Why don't you preface this run? Is this is a high scoring run, obviously, and
yeah, very high.
And you've probably worked at it for a long time at this point, but this will definitely demonstrate some scoring here. So let's get right into it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. I'll just touch up on the time on Time Crisis 2, if you do run out of time, you lose a life. It doesn't game over you completely like in the first Time Crisis.
Oh.
The game doesn't really push you for time like the first Time Crisis, in that you just keep on getting additional time at the end of every checkpoint. In this, it resets the time all the way back up on every single checkpoint.
I do remember that time being really tough to beat in the first game, actually.
Yeah, it is very difficult.
But not as much of an issue in 2, okay.
Yeah, well, if you play it normally, you shouldn't have any issues. The scoring system, it's quite simple. The big blue number at the top, that's the base combo. So when you're shooting enemies, that'll gradually go up. The time for the blue combo to end is actually 50 frames and not 60 frames. So after 50 frames, that combo will disappear and then you'll start again from scratch.
About a second, okay.
The aim is to get the combo up to 9 as fast as possible, because once you're at 9 hits, then every enemy, if you shoot them at the head, you get 2,000 points for the first shot, and then 1,000 for the second, and 1,000 for the third shot on every enemy. Okay.
So I see you doing that right now. You're shooting them in the head, and then you shoot them twice again in the body.
Yeah.
For each individual enemy.
Yeah. So every enemy has a base value, which is calculated from the first shot. So if you shoot them in the head, you'll always get the maximum amount of points possible for the enemy. The second and third shots, it doesn't matter where you shoot them, but it's best to shoot them in the body because that's the easiest part to shoot. And in Time Crisis 2, the enemies, they all fall in different ways depending on where exactly you shoot them. So some fly in really strange ways, so you have to chase them.
They are very ragdoll-y in that way.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the green bonus that keeps on popping up, that is called the no miss hit bonus. And after 10 shots without missing, you get 500. So it says plus 500. And then 20 shots without missing, it'll say plus 100. And then this goes all the way up to 5,000, where it continues at 5,000. And that is like the biggest way to improve your score, is to keep on getting these green bonuses. And that's what makes the Time Crisis games a lot better than any of the other light gun games.
So you're not taking damage and also just comboing basically the whole scene, essentially. Yeah. And then you're getting rewarded for that as you consistently do it.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like.
The other scoring mechanic is a time bonus, but the time bonus is only calculated at 1,200 points per every second based on a par time. So if you can score more than 1,200 points in a second, there's no point trying to be as fast as possible.
Okay, so you basically use as much time as you need to take out all the enemies, and
pretty much.
You want to use your time efficiently because you have time.
Yeah,
it sounds like
it's pretty much in the whole game. Going for time is not the best option.
Okay.
And you'll see some points here where I slow down on the second and third shots of the enemies to extend the combo, because if you shoot them too quick, then the combo will drop like it does at that point.
Okay, so yeah, you have the chaining there as well. When you're learning it, it's like, how often would you drop the chain, I suppose?
Pretty much all the time.
All the time. Okay, so this is this is a lot of practice that went into the run we're seeing right here.
Yeah, I don't think when they made this game it was planned for you to combo like entire scenes.
Oh.
But with some pretty careful play, you can get some really long combos in there.
That your technique is very precise. You always get the head and always get the two hits in a very much sort of rhythm to it that you have.
Yeah. Also, on the boss that's just been going throughout the whole of this area, if you shoot him in the head every single time, you get the secret route, which is where you go left here, and you get all these bonus guys.
You just have to exclusively shoot him in the head?
Yeah, and you can see that his hat falls off on every shot,
and
he makes a different noise when he gets shot as well.
So they're trying to let you know there's something there.
Yeah.
By shooting his head off. Huh. Are there more secrets like that?
Yeah, there's two more.
Okay.
Two more secret routes.
Wow, for doing stuff like that, it's neat.
Yeah. So, throughout the game, there's these orange enemies where two will pop up, and there'll be a left one and a right one. And if you shoot the left one, generally you take the one-player route. So if you played this on a two-player game, you've got fixed routes for each player. But if you play it on one player, you can choose the route by the enemy that you shoot.
Oh, okay. Did you say there was the boat engine there, or what was the trigger? Or there was the boat like rocket launcher thing there? I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, the boat has these two massive rockets that you can shoot really quick. I see people always struggle in the arcade against that bit because it does move really fast. This is probably like one of the only bits in the whole game where you should just play it as fast as possible, because you can't really chain that much.
Oh.
And you can't shoot through the boat here, so you miss out on points quite a lot. So it's just best to shoot all these enemies as quick as possible.
And just to reiterate, the only time you can receive damage is when you see the red tells. Is that also like or can you receive damage in other ways? Like, I guess there's the like objects that will come at you and whatnot.
Yeah, there's grenades and knives as well that are aimed at you, and that you have to dodge or shoot if possible.
And those won't have like a special like red thing around them. They'll just be
there's no red circles around those.
That's just for the enemies, like the infantry. Okay.
There's some rockets that have got red circles around. On the arcade, they didn't have circles around, so they were quite difficult to see in some bits.
Okay. Because it's
you'll
like,
see that.
because that's like
later.
that's one of the things I think a lot of people have a question about with light gun games is, who hit me? Where did I take damage? It always feels like that's something like you're not too sure about sometimes, but if you can identify it, what the threat is, then should be not many problems afterwards. Sounds pretty straightforward here.
Yeah,
overall.
From knowing what happens in the game and seeing people play, and they always step up when I know an enemy's about to shoot, and then they get hit by it. So it's usually an error by the person.
Oh. Suppose you could learn a lot just by watching. Yeah, in that respect, because it is about memorizing the enemy is where they're coming from. Obviously,
There's the orange enemies there.
Orange ones, okay.
Yeah, so I took the left route, which is the better one here. This is quite a long combo, and there's a trick to comboing between this tree here, and I did combo it there, which is very rare.
Wow.
And then there's this blue enemy at the front that usually catches me because I'm too slow at chaining.
Oh, okay.
So I have to watch out that guy there.
Are there ever more enemies for killing them quickly?
Not in this game, no.
Okay.
In Time Crisis 3 there is.
It's just like you kill them all, and then it just brings you to the next part. Okay.
And then this. So this bit now, I intentionally try and be a bit slow to maintain the no miss hit bonus. So I aim to get the green bonus to 5,000 and hold it as long as possible now.
Mm-hmm.
And this next bit is quite high scoring now. So comboing all of this while getting 100% accuracy is like the key to really high scores. And this is something that I've spent quite a lot of time on practicing. And in the top left on this bit there's a girder, and if you shoot it 3 times it ends that scene and awards 10,000 points. So what I do is I shoot it twice and then shoot all the enemies apart from one, and then shoot the girder and then shoot the last enemy twice, because the girder counts as 1 shot, so that classes as 3 shots. This bit you can shoot both barrels. If you shoot one barrel it ends the scene and the area, but you can still shoot the other one and the enemy just in a little bit of time if you're fast enough.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty tricky.
Yeah, I did miss 1 shot during the girder bit, so I lost the no miss hit bonus. So the amount of points that I did lose is quite a lot. It's somewhere between like 22,500 points lost from 1 shot.
Mm.
And because I got the chain all the way back up to 5,000, that's a big drop.
I see.
The next bit here, there's 2 bonus guys. I intentionally missed the first one. If you shoot both of them, you get the second bonus route. But with perfect play, you can actually score more points by not taking the bonus route. And I can score about 100,000 more points by playing it on the normal route.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds very optimized. You're getting into talking about some pretty advanced stuff that is pretty crazy.
I know it's what some people want to hear.
Oh yeah.
There's a funny glitch with the last bonus guy here. Awards 10,500 points, as you see. It's meant to award 5,000 and then another 1,000 for the 2 following shots. But it awards 10,500, and it does in the arcade as well, so I guess they just copied that. In the arcade, it says that you're meant to get 6,000 points for 3 shots on the bonus guys, but sometimes it accidentally awards 15,000. Like if you shoot them in the head 3 times, it gives you 15,000. But they fixed that in the port, so technically you get less points there.
So it seems like the points, like for performing really well, like those really add up when you know that all these points are there. Like, damn.
Yeah, so a normal score, if someone would clear the game like starting off, would get around about 600,000. After quite a bit of time and some scoring, 1 million is possible. And then that's the bit where you just have to like graft and grind at the game as much as possible. And then the difference between 1 million and 1.5 million is a huge thing to work for. And
Wow.
then 1.5 million to 2 million is like 10 times what that was. So it does take a lot of time. On this boss, once you shoot him a set amount of times, he flinches. And when he flinches, you can't actually shoot him. So if you do shoot him, you lose your no miss hit bonus. It just goes completely away.
Oh, I see.
So I just remember how many shots I need to do. So the first section, it's 9, 9, 9, and then 3. And then this section is 9, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, 7.
Wow.
And then this section, I'll try and shoot him 9 times and then 3 or 4. And then like 8 or 9 times. So I got 8. So I know it's 9 more shots now. So I shoot him 9 times and that's it.
Like, that is a lot of depth. Like, that I think just goes over everyone's head when they just play these games casually in an arcade.
Yeah, it's like talking about ranking schmucks.
Yeah.
But I guess everyone knows about the basics of games like this. Like, you shoot enemies, you dodge. You shoot them in certain ways to get more points.
And the biggest, sounds like, yeah, one of the biggest ways to get the points is just not missing at all, right?
Yeah, if you can
Okay.
100% accuracy, then it is amazing. But on this
It's a
game,
big bonus, okay.
on this game, they made it really difficult to shoot enemies 3 times. But it wasn't really part of the whole plan. You're just meant to shoot everything like quick. So they kind of fixed these things in the future games, which became more scoring based.
Your project is going
They
down
refined
in
it.
flames.
Yeah, they made it a lot easier. So in Time Crisis 3, the enemies, they fall in a more easier to shoot way. Like, they don't fly all over the place in random directions. So if you just shoot them where the head is 3 times, you just miss them for some reason, and then you've dropped your bonus. In this section, the difficulty goes up quite a lot. In the second section, at least. So I carry over the no miss hit bonus throughout all the areas, so you can see that I'm racking it up. But it's very difficult to maintain as it's back down on 500 again. So this bit, yeah, there's some really good dodges. This bit is really difficult, and pretty much anyone will get hit like 2 or 3 times in that section. And this bit has like random bonus guys that zip back at the back of the screen. You don't have to get them. I mean, it's only 5,000.
He was zipping, yeah, literally zipping back there. That's funny.
Yeah, so I missed that one enemy, and that's like a couple of 1,000 points dropped from the potential maximum just on that. I get that bonus guy though. Sometimes I still miss them myself because they are overlapped by other enemies, so you have to shoot them really accurately. So here's Wild Dog, the guy that's in all the Time Crisis games.
Oh, okay.
And this is where you get the bonus route for the 3rd stage. You have to shoot Wild Dog 25 times in this whole bit.
Oh.
And if you don't, you get normal enemies. If you do, you just get bonus enemies, and you maintain the same route.
I see.
And it's in this next section. And this next section is really difficult on 2-player. You have to shoot him 6 times, and then he flinches, so you stop.
Do you have to damage the boss like a certain amount of times before the scene advances as well? Or do you have to wait for the enemies and just kill the enemies? Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
you pretty much have to shoot all the major enemies in this.
Okay.
You do have to shoot the boss before it advances onto the next thing. This next section is a bit like the final boss in Time Crisis 1, where you just have to keep on shooting the boss once, and then he'll advance to the next area where he pops out.
Oh, okay.
But you've got two bosses at the same time, which becomes quite a feature in a lot of the rest of the series.
Oh, really? Okay.
And you can catch Wild Dog there, like I did. You're not meant to be able to shoot him there, because that's where the other player is meant to shoot him, and this is where I'm meant to shoot him there.
Oh.
And if you shoot him when he's quite far, you get 1,000. If he's close, it's 5,000. If he's really close, it's 10,000. These helicopters, they eventually do shoot at you. But if you shoot the pilot in the head, you get the maximum amount of points from that bit.
Wow.
Which is quite difficult to do.
That's a nice detail. Damn, man. Pretty damn. That's really impressive.
And a score of like 130,000 in that area is about the maximum you can get. The only way to score more is to 100% accuracy it.
Yeah, you don't let hardly anything get unnoticed here.
Yeah, and now we're on the final area. If you shoot Christie, you lose 5,000 points, and he hides and then comes back out. So you actually lose quite a bit of time bonus as well.
And you lose health for doing that as well, I'd imagine.
No, you don't.
You don't. Oh.
So you could just shoot her for ages, and just in case you don't run out of time. If you shoot her here, it's even more time consuming because that crane comes up and does another set of movements.
Oh.
And this is like the best bit in the arcade because she screams so loud.
Funny.
And then you've just got this really long cutscene before the final boss. On the final boss, which is the satellite, the best way to score is to shoot it as fast as possible and to get 100% accuracy during that. So you can shoot the solar panels on the sides and get a little bit more points, or you can just shoot the middle of the satellite and get more points by shooting it faster. Because every 10 shots is another 5,000, you're getting 500 per shot, which is a bit more than 50 for each of the solar panels. So I shoot rapidly at the middle. It's meant to be a good thing if you can get 99 hits on this scene. People seem to see it as like a major achievement, but I tend to get like about 120, but it stops on 99.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's on 99 now.
Cool.
So yeah, you see the rockets shoot there, and they've got circles on them.
Mm.
And the laser, you can like do frame dodging. So just in case you're not up the frame that it passes over you, you're fine. So you can dodge it really quick.
Mm.
You can shoot the boss during this section. It advances the pattern, but that'll technically give you less points. So if you're starting off, you can shoot him, but you'll get a lot less points. But you have to shoot him last now, and you get 30,000 more points for shooting him to clear the game.
That's
so you've
so
got to
technical.
make sure that you shoot him at the end, yeah. And there's the final score, 2,090,000.
There must be so much trial and error figuring out all those optimizations, and watching other people play. I would imagine would be a good way to see just how many points you're acquiring for each section and for doing what. Like, because I can imagine it's easy to analyze while you're actively shooting everything and aiming for everything. So.
Yeah, I've watched my videos back over the years to see where I've been going wrong, where I've been going right, especially on Time Crisis 3, because there's a lot more to that game than this one. But it's a method that I've used in pretty much all games in general, is to watch back what I'm doing, what works right and what doesn't work right, how to maximize scoring.
Damn.
And that's how I always end up with really good scores on games. You've just got to invest a lot of time into something to pull out a score like this.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, how long did it take you to like first beat the game? Like one credit clear, I suppose.
Well, when Time Crisis 2 came out, I wasn't very good at these games, so it took quite a long time. Probably like 100 credits, maybe, or 150 credits before I could one credit clear the game.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really into 1cc in this game because it was like 3 credits for one. So as long as I did it in 2 or 3, I was fine.
Right.
But I was already really good at these games when Time Crisis 3 came out. So I was able to 1cc that game in like a couple of weeks.
That's cool how sounds like you just got good at this one, and then you took the skills and then brought it to the other games. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing in a similar type of thing you see in fighters and shmups as well.
Yeah, indeed, you can definitely transfer skills from Time Crisis 2 to 3 to 4 really easily. Like Time Crisis 1 is so different to the rest of the series, so this is a good introduction. It's a bit like the Dodon patch, apart from there's not mega chaining. If you want mega chaining, there's Time Crisis 4. If you want to chain like entire areas for like 5 minutes in one chain, then yeah, Time Crisis 4 is good for that.
That's an amazing amount of depth. That is just. That's amazing. Yeah, that's cool.
No problem. Have you got any other questions on this game?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you talk about like the alternate paths and kind of like the different bonuses. It was a lot to take in, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much that I can speak about the game that you can't fit in like a 20-minute video.
Because like we're trying to talk about the games in general, then we're also talking about the completely advanced strategy as well here on the show.
Yeah, there's stuff that I've not mentioned. Like it's best to take the right routes. The left route at the very start of the game, you take the left route and then you take the right route. So when it shows the players take routes, that's the one where you want to take the right route. So then when you're shooting the boss's head, so his hat falls off, it's a lot easier if you do take the right route.
Yeah, do you have like advice for new players on how to get better and that type of thing? Like he said, you used a lot of like 150 credits or so just to get it clear through the game or so. I mean, so it takes time, obviously, practice.
I'd say the best thing to do is to memorize the red enemies.
Yeah.
And in Time Crisis 2, they'll always shoot at exactly the same time. And most of the enemies shoot at the same amount of frames as they appear on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that if they appear, you can shoot them before they'll shoot you. Or you can let them shoot, and the instant the red comes, you can just hide. You can play the game really safe.
And we'll get into a bit later about different ways to play these games as well. But what version are you playing on for this Time Crisis 2 replay, by the way?
So this is the PlayStation 2 version, and it's the American NTSC version. It plays generally better than the PAL version, which is the region I'm from. Mm-hmm. So this runs at 60 frames a second. The PAL version runs at 50 frames optimized. So you can't really tell that it runs at 50 frames, but it actually does. Mm-hmm. There's no big issues with the game.
Yeah.
In this one. But I find it plays better, and there's no screen stretching. Like in PAL games, the screens get stretched and squashed, and you'll see that some lines will get doubled, and there's none of this in the NTSC version, so it's best to have the screen looking as good as possible. Sure. And it makes replays like this.
Sure, and then I guess you're using a gun peripheral on the PlayStation 2, obviously.
Yeah, indeed. Not that many people know that on the NTSC version of Time Crisis 2 that you can use the original GunCon 1 or GCon 45 as it's called over here. So you don't have to use the GunCon 2. They call
it a GunCon, okay.
Yeah. So the GunCon 2 is not as strong as the original one. So if you're playing it as much as me, you tend to go through them quite quick.
Ah, sure.
So yeah, thankfully you can use the original GunCon, and I find it to be a bit more accurate, and it's a bit heavier.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think I have any more particular questions. Like, you answered a lot of my main things. So just like how's, you're able to avoid damage just by immediately when you start peeking away, and only when you're out fully can you take damage. I mean, that's a big thing, and yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean.
Yeah, if you just see any red flash, then you can always hide.
Mm-hmm.
Or if someone's throwing like a grenade, you can see it and you can shoot the grenades.
What do you have a certain like method for always getting the headshot and then the two shots below? Like, is there a way that you develop that rhythm?
Well, there's a few ways to do it. Either you can shoot the head and then after a short period of time, you can just move down slightly with your aiming.
Yeah.
And usually you'll get it. Like the second and third shots, you can drop them down a bit more on the second and the third, just in case, because some enemies will fall down really quick.
How do you keep your aim like steady all the time? Just from practice?
Yeah, I guess that's from all my time of playing like all the point blank games, because in that you just rapidly moving your sight all over the place.
And we didn't actually talk about the reloading as well. How do you deal with the reloading? Just any tips about that?
If you do watch the video back, you'll see that a lot of the time I'll reload when there's 3 bullets left. And this is just in case, because there's a set amount of frames of hiding before it reloads, and sometimes you'll release and press the button a bit too quick. So just in case, I tend to hide after. Oh, so
it's reloading when you hide and not like a shooting off screen reload.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so that's different. That's good to know. I forgot about that. Because it's like most light gun games, it seems like you just shoot off screen, right? To get
yeah, but since they added
back.
the pedal, they use that to reload as well, which is a good mechanic because I hate shooting outside the screen.
Yeah, it is annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm used to it, but I prefer not to.
Because it's like, yeah, you always have to like change your aim, right? When you're shooting off screen, you're always readjusting your aim. I imagine that gets difficult.
Yeah, there is that. Like, I know the Ninja Assault port, you can add a button to reload, but you're meant to shoot outside of the screen. But when I played it at home, I would still shoot outside of the screen, because then if I played it in the arcade, I'd be like trying to press a button to reload.
Okay, so how about in summary, what's the fastest and easiest way to get a good amount of points?
The easiest way to score well is to up the blue bonus. So get the hit counter to 9 as quick as possible and to maintain it.
Okay.
That's where the bulk of the score comes.
That's the bulk.
The other bits like the no miss hit bonus, that's where you're gonna get from like 1.5 to 2 million is those green bonuses.
And you've kind of filled in as we were watching that replay all the kind of little things that you were doing to optimize as well. So
yeah, all the things that you wouldn't notice, you'll just see me doing random things and not knowing what I'm doing, but I am doing them for a reason.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we get to Time Crisis 3 then? Why don't you start talking about when you started playing Time Crisis 3? Go back and talk about a bit about that. And did you go directly from 2 to 3, or did you play like a game between then, or what was it like at that time when you were first playing 3?
When Time Crisis 3 came out, I think I was still playing Time Crisis 2 and Crisis Zone. Crisis Zone was my favourite. Well, it probably still is my favourite light gun game.
Is that part of the Crisis series? Crisis
Yeah,
Zone.
it's an offshoot which has a machine gun as the weapon. It's a one-player game.
Ah, okay.
The scoring in that is quite different, though. That's more about just being as quick as possible. But I just preferred the game because it was fun. When Time Crisis 3 came out, I instantly jumped on it.
I see. You're like, holy crap, Time Crisis 3, hell yeah.
Yeah, I was anticipating it coming out. Like
Gotcha.
I'd seen the location test videos on the internet, and it's like, yeah, I want to play this. And then it came out like quite a while after.
Yeah, because I noticed there was a big gap between 2 and 3 in terms of time. It looked like it was about 5 years. What was it? I think from 97 to 2002.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
actually
5 year difference there.
it came out in July 2003 in the arcades, over here at least. The location test was in 2002.
I see. Okay.
Namco tend to like put the years back one on their games, like they tend to put the year that the game was started development for some reason.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, the title screens say those years, so that's what they usually go by. But they actually did come out in 2003.
Oh, it's 2003. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, kind of a big difference there. And okay, then all right. Why don't we talk about? I want to talk about how Time Crisis 3 is going to differ majorly, and then we'll get right into the replay.
Yeah, so there's a lot more comboing and chaining in Time Crisis 3. There's a lot of enemies that come in each section now, so it's not like just a couple of enemies. It's like a lot of enemies will come up at once, which makes it quite a bit more fun.
Okay.
The added extra weapons, so you've got a machine gun and a shotgun and a grenade launcher.
Gotcha.
It calls it the grenade gun for some reason.
Grenade gun.
To change the weapons, you hide and then you pull the trigger. So you let go of the pedal or the button and then pull the trigger, and it cycles it over the list of weapons. There's a maximum amount of bullets you can hold in each type. So machine gun's 200 shots, shotgun is 50, and the grenade is 5.
Okay.
So you have to like optimize the weapons. For scoring, handgun is generally the best, so still playing it classic style.
Mm-hmm.
But the machine gun is quicker, so you can play the majority of the game with the machine gun, and the game was pretty much designed in a way to use the machine gun for most of the game.
Uh-huh.
There's these new enemies that award you with the extra bullets, so if you shoot them 3 times, you'll get a lot more extra ammo, which is quite useful.
So when you're killing enemies and stuff, do you get ammo for the weapon you're using at the time, or is it just various ammos that refill? Or
It seems to award it from a list of what every single enemy gives. So sometimes it'll award one set of machine gun, one set of shotgun, and a grenade, or sometimes it'll go like machine gun,
yeah,
shotgun,
I see
or
like
3 machine guns.
yeah, I see like 3 of them like appear something like a cat. It's like these, are they just like ammo caches, or those are from killing enemies?
Yeah, that's the bonus guy. So if you shoot them 3 times, it'll show the 3 bonus weapons that you get.
Like shooting the ammo out of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, we got a gist of it there. All right, why don't we get into the replay then? This is a bit longer than Time Crisis 2.
Yeah, it's a much longer game.
This is coming in at 40 minutes actually.
Yeah, so you can see when I played this like 6 times in a row in the arcade.
Holy crap. All right, let's get into it then. I shall do a countdown, and let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go. This will be like a movie, like a little episode here.
Yeah, so this is the video that I uploaded to YouTube, so it's still got all the annotations on there.
Oh. Okay.
What do you think you're doing here? This is a restricted
So the port of Time Crisis 3 is exactly the same as the arcade, because the arcade pretty much runs on a PS2.
Cool.
So it's like exactly the same if you're playing the NTSC versions, which made it a lot easier to learn in the arcade once it came out.
The jet ski explodes.
So you'll see that the scoring method is exactly the same in this game. You get the points awarded by the combo, so you get it up to 9 as quick as possible. And then it gives you the 2,000, 1,000, 1,000 that you'll repeatedly see adding up at the top.
Gotcha, yeah.
At the start of the first area, I'll use handgun to just try and get as much accuracy bonus. So you'll see that in this game, that the accuracy bonus, the no miss hit bonus, will go to 5,000 a lot more in this game than it does in Time Crisis 2. So yeah, you can see that I got a lot of machine gun from that bonus guy there.
Okay.
And you have to dodge that, yeah.
Oh.
So you see, when I shoot all the enemies, I shoot the head and then I just drop after the first shot. And there you grenade there to get the maximum amount of points. If you shoot with handgun or any other, you only get like 5,000. There's a strange glitch, I guess, here, where the first shot on all of these enemies awards double the normal score. So instead of getting 2,000, you get 4,000. So that's how you get really high scores for some reason. You'll see that the machine gun enemies have a health bar above them. And when using the handgun, they take 5 hits. So what I do is I shoot them 4 times, reload, and then shoot them 3 times. So then I'll have 6 remaining bullets. And that's like an advanced strategy.
Wow. Okay.
You can shoot the cannon at the back to maintain your combo. You can only shoot it a certain amount of times, but enough times to maintain there. Here's a glitch where the enemies fly behind the background, and if you shoot them once they've gone past the background, you miss them, so you drop your no miss hit bonus. So I shoot those enemies once. There's a few other bits in the game where that happens. So yeah, I'm maintaining 100% accuracy and shooting all the enemies in the normal way. And here I use machine gun, and this is more of a time thing than anything.
Okay.
Like you can delay that cannon and 2 enemies come out at the right, so you can get an extra 8,000 points. But the time bonus in this game is 2,400 points per second based on the par time. So for every second you spend, you lose 2,400 points. Okay. So that's like 40 points per frame.
Dang, okay.
So the time bonus is a lot bigger in this game. Like the par times are quite far back. So you get more of a percentage of your total score by time. So you don't want to be a bit slow during the whole game.
I see.
But of course that's just advanced scoring there.
Yep.
And this bit's quite difficult when you first start. There's like a few red shots that'll just come up really quick.
Yeah, I noticed that. But you just timed the cover just right there.
Yeah, and I shot the enemies as quick as possible on the ones that are the most dangerous. Because you can just shoot all the enemies in any order that you want if they're all on the screen at the same time. But it's best to take the most dangerous ones out. Like that top right guy shoots first, usually, and there's a guy on the right who appears, and he shoots very quick.
Yeah.
But you can get him before he shoots. And here you can shoot the barrel at the back, and that ends the entire scene. So what I do is I shoot everything, and then shoot it after I've shot the last enemy. To just get that bonus just in time. And I do the same here with the Jeep that flies in. Like I shoot the last enemy and then I finish it off just before it stops you from shooting.
So the 5,000 point bonus, that's like a catch-all for like the good it's like the good bonus point value, like the catch-all for doing like those feats then?
So the 5,000 is for destroying the Jeep. So if you just destroyed the Jeep itself, you get that 5,000 and it would end the scene. So I do absolutely everything I possibly can do and then destroy it to add it on top.
Okay.
So it's like point maximization.
Okay. Yeah.
And during that bit there is an enemy that flies behind the background that drops the no miss hit bonus a lot. So I intentionally shot him once to try and maximize the score in there.
Okay.
And this next bit's quite difficult, but you don't lose much points if you can't do it very well. And you don't actually have to shoot these enemies. And this next bit's quite difficult, so I've always used machine gun. One of the enemies at least will shoot very quickly. So this is pretty much the best way to do it. And since I maximize score almost as much as possible, there's nothing.
I don't think you gave any of them a chance to shoot at you either.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. I lost too many lives there when I first started playing the game. So this is the first boss now.
Okay.
And in this area I change my tactic a lot. So I try and maintain 100% accuracy as much as possible. So I play it pretty slow. So I don't get any time bonus in this area, but I get much more by playing it really slow.
I'm getting 100% accuracy and okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so the green no miss hit bonus. There is a really advanced strategy here of just leaving this section for ages and just shooting all these rockets and intensely dropping lives and just getting more points by shooting the rockets. And that's actually done by the world record score does that. So that's like the absolute optimization. but then you've lost lives, so of course it's nice to not lose lives.
Yeah.
Here the section with the Jeeps, they take 10 hits. If you shoot them 10 times, all the enemies will just fly off like that. You kind of want the last shot to be the driver, because that awards more points. And if you shoot the window, the glass at the front of the Jeep, that counts as a hit as well. So you have to take that on board if you're maintaining 100% accuracy. So you see that 5,000 that keeps on appearing, that means I've not missed a shot.
Right.
And this is like one of the hardest bits in the whole game to maintain that, because like these Jeeps are going left and right a lot. I use shotgun here to quickly get rid of those bonus guys, and because I'm playing a bit slow, so I'm looking at the time at the bottom and trying to not run out of time.
I see.
So I usually do this with like 1 second left.
Wow.
But I knew I was playing quite well on this, so I played it a little bit quicker. This bit is like the original milk in this game, where you shoot 2 of the turrets and then you leave the last one and you just shoot random places on the plane, and you can see that my score is just racking up a lot.
Yeah, yep, still getting those 5,000 bonuses. So the 5,000 bonuses, it seems like is it every so many hits?
Every 10 hits, yeah.
Every 10 hits, okay, gotcha.
So this bit's difficult because there's 2 bonus guys and they move around and they're very small. And if you miss one, then that's at least 22,000 points dropped. So you've got to be careful. You could just shoot them once, because shooting them 3 times only awards like 440 more points at a risk of 22,000. But that is more points, and you do get more ammo. So I do it because I can. And here you can be as slow as possible to do this. You can tell that it doesn't need many more hits when the health bar disappears. Like you can see it, but there's no red at all.
Mm-hmm.
And here they fixed the enemy flinching on Time Crisis 2, where in that if you shot them a set amount of times, they'd flinch and you can't shoot them, like the second boss.
Yeah.
Here you can just shoot the boss as much as possible. So I intentionally stop here so I can get more enemies, more shots on the enemy before he hides.
Wow.
And here I shoot the Jeeps 9 times, and then shoot everything else, and then I shoot that one 9 times, and then finish him off there. So I really enjoyed this bit because there's so much that you have to do to get a really high score, and it feels really good when it pays off.
And you're saying you get the extra 5,000s by ending it on the 10th shot, killing the Jeeps on the 10th shot, or
you get 1,000 more points for the destruction of the Jeep if you shoot the enemy instead. But every 10 shots you get 5,000 more, so you're technically getting another 5,000 for shooting the whole of the Jeep.
you get an extra 5,000 for doing the Jeep.
If you're maintaining this 5,000 bonus, which isn't too difficult to hold it. And this is the final section of that boss. So I changed to handgun and then just finish him off there. And as you may have noticed, I got the 5,000 bonus throughout the entirety of that area. So it means I didn't miss a single shot in all of that.
Jesus.
Like that 4 minutes 37, I didn't miss a single shot. And I got 624,000. So a good score in that area is like 400,000. And an amazing score is 500,000. And I got 600,000, which is pretty difficult.
Why, man?
Yeah. So I got over 1.5 million on the first stage on this run. That was the second time I'd ever done that. I'd got 1.4 million about almost 100 times. But 1.5 million is so difficult to get.
Wow. That was some stage 1. Shit. It lasts a long time.
A normal clear score in this game is like 1 to 1.5 million, and you can get it in the first stage if you play that well.
Wow, yeah. That was pretty impressive. Yeah.
Thank you. The 5,000 bonus actually continues onto this area now, so it's maintaining it as long as possible until it gets to the point where shooting enemies as quick as possible is probably the best idea. So I actually shoot the Jeep 9 times here, but if I shot it a 10th time it would advance the scene, so I shoot it last again.
Yeah.
So I'm still maintaining that 5,000, but it usually drops here because it's very difficult to maintain it in this bit. And I use the things all the scenery to increase the hits to 9 again. So I shoot the plates there.
I see. That's a score optimization there to shoot the plates and shoot other obstacles to get the hit counter up, and then you get the hit counter bonus on the actual enemies.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. I'm starting to get it.
It does take quite a bit of time to get used to scoring high. And the difficulty ramps like crazy now. So this red guy at the top left, he shoots really quick, so I shoot him before he gets even on the scene. This is one of the hardest bits in the whole game, so I shotgun it. I think a red bullet does appear there, but thankfully I dodge it. And even though I use shotgun, I still optimize the score pretty much as possible. And I was quicker than using machine gun, so technically I earned more points than I would have by playing it that way.
Wow.
So a lot of enemies now will shoot at you. I shoot those enemies first. Here I use the plant pots to increase it to 9. So that's like a 1,000 to 2,000 point bonus by shooting those plant parts there.
Nice, yeah.
And these enemies sometimes turn to shoot at you, so I usually dodge anyway. Here I do a normal dodge because they sometimes shoot really quick, so I know when the bullet is going to be. This bit is really difficult, so I'd advise anyone to grenade it.
Yeah.
And you can play it, but I knew I was on a really good run, so I didn't want to like mess it up. So
Yeah.
I just grenaded it, and there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Seems like this is seems like you kind of get in the zone when you're playing these games, right? I mean, like, do you need to do a warm up usually before you start getting like your good runs?
Yeah, it's best to play like the first stage once and then restart.
Okay.
You'll make some little mistakes which will eventually add up. People don't like this bit very much because the machine gunners shoot really quick and they start to be off screen when they shoot. So using shotgun and shooting them all really quick, like that guy shoots really quick.
So they like get around you and shoot at you, and you can't do anything about it if you don't kill them.
Well, if you don't react fast enough, then you'll get hit. But you can see the bullet.
Oh.
But it's a lot less visible than a normal shot. And here you can shoot the enemy before he flies off. And I like when that happens. So yeah, I got 54,000 as a time bonus.
Yeah,
which is
it's
a little
like,
bit.
It's just funny because it's like I'm trying to identify the threats, but you just take them out, so I just never see them usually.
Usually, if I've shot an enemy quick, it means that they're
whatever you're shooting first is probably the most dangerous. Probably that's the rule of thumb.
There's a good scoring strategy here to leave the enemies a little bit of time, so then the next set of enemies will come on just in time. But it's very difficult to do. And there's just score maximization there of getting the maximum amount of score on every enemy there. This bit is quite difficult because the enemies are quite hard to hit. And they fly off really quick. I've tried this bit a lot with machine gun and handgun, and it seems that machine gun is the best overall for scoring. And the difficulty here is quite hard. Like that machine gunner shoots a lot. And this next section is also difficult with a red enemy popping up on the right, which gets everyone. That guy there.
Wow. I saw him, yeah. But you shot him instantly.
And this combo here is one that I created myself. That no one had ever done before, which is just delaying enemies a little bit.
Cool.
So getting a full combo on that.
It's interesting how there's very minute timing like that to keep the chain going. Like,
yeah, in Time Crisis 2, there was a lot of shooting an enemy once and taking as many frames as possible to then shoot the second and third shots.
Yeah, yeah.
But on this, it's generally just shooting the enemies 3 times, really quickly, and then going on to the next one. This is like one of the biggest chains in the game. It's not the biggest, but it's like one of the easiest to get a really high amount of points, as you see the bonus really racking up there. Like 53,000. I remember when I first got 50,000 and it was like, wow, that's loads of points.
Wow.
And now it's a bit normal.
Alright. Yeah, these guys are quick, huh?
Yeah, so it's pretty difficult to chain some of these enemies, so it's just shooting them really quick. This bit, as a beginner, I'd advise to just grenade and shotgun all these submarines. They take 19 hits, so it's like 9, 9 and 1. But I use handgun to maintain the no miss hit bonus as much as possible. The amount of more points I get for doing this is about 10 to 20,000, so it's not really worth it unless if you're really risky and you're very good at the game.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really recommend doing this bit like this. Unless
Gotcha.
if you want to show off or or score more points. It was good though.
Of course.
Because of that, you get a bit less time bonus because I've been playing it a bit slower. But overall, I got more points.
Gotcha.
Alicia, she didn't make it. You sure about that?
I'm glad you included the scenes, by the way, the cutscenes. I mean, I assume you always skip them, or do you when you're playing a credit, do you sometimes leave them played to have a break or anything like that?
I usually leave them to just have a little break and to think about what to do next.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. That's cool to hear. It's like because I know my index finger just feels tired from watching all these shots.
Yeah, it's best to have breaks whenever possible, and I'm maintaining the no miss hit bonus as much as possible here. Like I'm getting 5,000, but I intentionally drop it here because it's a bit too hard to maintain. So this becomes the point where time is better than accuracy.
And that probably takes analysis of your own runs to figure out over time as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah, indeed. I had to just check to see if that was the best thing. The way to get the absolute most amount of points in this game is to play it really slow, and to get 5,000 throughout the whole game is the absolute best way to score.
Mm-hmm.
But that is very difficult to do, and it can be very frustrating. Like you miss one shot and it's like, oh, I could have just played it normally and I would have got more points.
I see. Wow.
There's a couple of glitches in this bit. Like
Really?
Sometimes it doesn't allow you to shoot the boss in that section that just happened. Like you'll shoot him, it'll flash and it won't class as a hit. These enemies here only take one hit, but it adds to the combo counter by 2, and these enemies glitch a bit, so I grenade them. It's just a safety thing.
I see.
And again, I shoot them once, but it says 4 hits.
Headshot is irrelevant for the single shot, or do you still always want the headshot?
I just tried to shoot them, really.
Okay. Could you say again how important are headshots again? You get 2,000 points usually for the guys.
Yeah, so the base value for the first enemy is 800 for the head, 400 for the body, and arms and legs is 200, and it follows that same sort of structure until you get the 9 hits, and then on the 9 hits it's 2,000 for the head and then 1,000 for the following shots. If you shoot the body it's 1,000 and then 500 for the following shots, and I'll just check what the scoring is because I do have the chart of how it works.
I see.
Yeah, so if you shoot them on the arms and legs on 9 hits, it's 500 for the first shot and 300 for the following shots. So 1,100 is a lot less than 4,000.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like a lot of It's like a lot of counting that you're doing. When you're playing the game.
Yeah, the easiest thing to remember is just to get it up to 9 hits, and then try and maintain that as much as possible, because you always score more with a higher combo amount.
Definitely keeps you thinking, like all the time. It seems.
Yeah, the scoring is really interested in this game, and that's why I played it so much.
Ready to make some noise? Oh yeah.
And also
So
because of the people in the scene, the local scene, they were so good at the game that that I wanted to be as good as them. And this was like one of the only games that I was not as good as everyone else at. Like there was 2 other people who could get 4 million, and I was at like 3.6 for a very long time, and I couldn't get any better than that. It took quite a long time for me to get from 3.6 to 4 million, because I hit 3.6 in I think 2005, and I hit 4 million last year.
Wow.
And I have played it a lot over those years.
To clarify.
Yeah, I've played this game more than any other game.
Oh, wow.
And it is something like 2,500 hours on this game alone.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time, Crisis.
Yeah. So I clearly do like the game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take that amount of hours to get good at this game, because after about 100 hours I was already getting like 3 million points.
But like we've been saying, like through analyzation of your replays and all that, and figuring out how to do the areas just a certain way, you're able to optimize over time and then execute it.
Yeah,
eventually.
And eventually get that 4 million points, which I thought would never happen in my life.
That's really satisfying to have a game that you don't get tired of playing, and it keeps on rewarding you for getting better. Like it's not common, really.
Yeah, indeed, and there's still room for optimization. Like you can get up to 5 million if you played it a different way, but the skills required to do that is very tedious to get even higher than this. Like you'd have to change your strategy completely from how I play this.
Jeez.
Like in this section, I'm maintaining the no miss hit bonus of 5,000 keep on appearing, but I try to be cautious because the screen does move side to side a bit. On this bit, I let Wild Dog drop, and because of that, you can get extra hits after you've shot him.
Uh-huh.
And here I use shotgun because this bit's difficult, and because you only have so much machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a bit like the scene in Time Crisis 2 where you're fighting 2 bosses at the same time.
Oh.
Except you've got a machine gun now. And I'm playing in this way to shoot as many bullets as possible so I can get up that 5,000 bonus as many times as possible through this bit. But then of course you run out of machine gun. This bit's quite difficult, and the enemies just fall in strange ways, so I shoot them all once, apart from the guy that gives the extra bullets.
They particularly fall in a weird way, huh? Okay.
Yeah, like they fell through the container. So you couldn't hit them a following time.
So you have to really mind them, okay?
Yeah, because you drop that 5,000 and that'd be another 22,000 gone.
He kicked the crate. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, they do have some strange superpowers here. Like this next bit, Wildfang will kick the girder, and the instant he kicks the girder, you can throw a grenade, and it'll hit both of them. If you fire a grenade instantly, it usually doesn't hit both of them, and then you find that you lose a life because you get hit. So I played around with that quite a bit to see when to use a grenade. So you can use splash damage of just firing a grenade and it hits him. And that speeds things up quite well.
Wow.
And of course time bonus is a feature here. If you use a grenade, it classes it as a miss, so you lose your no miss hit bonus instantly for using a grenade.
Yeah.
And then I got 556,000, which is again a really high score on that area. Like a good score in that is 400,000. Again, anything over 500,000 is just adding to a really good score. And I like how he kicks that girder somehow. There is some funny things that do happen in the scenes. This is my favourite area in the whole game.
Cool.
It feels a bit more classic than the rest of the game.
I see.
This bit took me a long time to learn how to maintain the combo between these enemies. Like you have to shoot them in a certain order, and you have to stagger the shots so there's enough time for the combo to maintain for the next enemy to appear. And this bit is my favourite bit in the whole game, where the camera keeps on panning left and right, and you can maintain the combo. So here I go, and the combo is just going up and up while I'm going left and right, and I'm maintaining the no miss hit bonus, which I somehow get up to 5,000, which I've only done that a handful of times in this bit. And the instant I knew I was on these 5,000s, it's like the 4 million is on now, so I can get 4 million.
Wow.
And because I maintained that no miss hit bonus there, that's the reason why I got 4 million in this run. Just because of that bit was what pushed me over the normal line.
I see. Dang.
And he usually shoots, so I always hide at the point where he shoots.
How about like RNG in the game? Like as far as like when they shoot you, like is that a thing then, or is it always predetermined?
Yeah, there's a red enemy in the bottom left who always shoots, and he gets everyone, including me sometimes. There.
Oh, okay.
That's really important. In terms of RNG, there's some enemies on normal who will always shoot. Usually it's 1 out of every 2. Sometimes it's 1 out of every 4, or sometimes even higher than that, or less of a chance of the enemy shooting. The trick to learning things is to increase the difficulty to very hard.
Really?
And then all the enemies that would normally shoot usually shoot every other time.
Oh,
and this bit
okay.
a grenade because it's too hard.
I see what you're saying. So it helps teach you because it increases the frequency at which only the guys that will shoot at you will shoot at you. Okay, I think that's what you're getting at there.
Yeah, so you find out which enemies can shoot at you a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because they're shooting a lot more frequently.
That's a really good tip to learning. Yeah, I would imagine. Damn.
Yeah, and then putting the difficulty back to normal, it feels really easy. I like this bit in the cutscene because they're like having a conversation while they're being shot at by enemies.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems she seemed pretty happy at that moment.
Yeah.
While shooting.
I must also state that if you do put it on very hard, there's some enemies that never shoot on normal that do start to shoot, but there's only a handful of these. So it's nothing really to worry about.
You might as well play on the very hard, especially if you're playing like a console port or a home port of some sort.
Yeah,
no reason not to, because.
Yeah, so this is the final boss now, which involves chaining a big combo at the beginning. You can get it up to 100, as I do.
Wow.
And then this next bit's quite difficult because of, well, the angle of the enemies. It's quite hard to shoot them in the head. And when the boss shoots, I just intentionally use that as a time to reload, so I know when he's going to shoot. So I intentionally shoot till I need to reload, and you should always hide at the beginning here, because you'll just get hit by that ninja. The enemies on the left are really difficult, so I take them out really quick, because they just shoot really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the next section, once it appears, there's a red enemy and a machine gunner that both shoot really quick. So I do a really quick line across the screen. It's this section now.
Mm-hmm.
the machine gunner and the red guy at the bottom right. So
Wow.
I zip the gun all the way down to the bottom. And then once I've done that, I pretty much know that I'm not going to lose alive throughout the whole game, because the rest of the game is pretty simple to me.
I see. So it sounds like throughout the game, as far as survival goes, there's probably just very crucial segments that you want to know about,
Yeah, indeed.
and then you'll do a lot better from there as far
Yeah.
as surviving.
This section, if you're really fast, you get extra patterns that keep on coming here, and the final pattern is quite difficult, which doesn't come up there. And it's probably best for time versus score anyway to do that. And here I use the machine gun on these, and then I use a shotgun just to clear them, because I'm maintaining the no miss hit bonus as much as possible. And this bit's quite difficult if you play it like that. And again, to maintain the no miss hit bonus, I use the machine gun and just hold it on the boss until he finishes, and then after you clear him, you get to hear him like yawn of like boredom. He's like, which is like really funny.
Was that the yawn?
Yeah, and that's the end of the game. There's 4 million final. And then you get to see another funny bit where you do a cartwheel before you fire these fire some rockets at the top of the building to stop these rockets from taking off.
Mm-hmm.
Here it comes, cartwheel.
Yeah, pretty unnecessary.
Yeah. And that's the end of the game.
Really well done. So you said you achieved 4 million recently? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was last year when that was done.
Okay.
Because I was hitting all of my targets, so I hit 2 million on Time Crisis 2. I'd already hit 7 million on Time Crisis 4. So I thought I'd finish. I also hit 4 million on Raising Storm. So this was the next thing to do, was to get the 4 million on this.
Seems like each million is like its own milestone. The way you describe it.
They're like major milestones. So they're like really high targets, where if anyone's got one of these, that they're considered a really amazing player at Lightgun games.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got like all of them, and I've also got under 10 minutes on Time Crisis 1 now, so I've completed the whole set.
Oh man. the fucking hands behind the back on the head, hands behind the head there. That's pretty funny. Ooh.
Yeah, so it was good to get the 4 million eventually.
Yeah, definitely. It must have felt really rewarding.
Yeah.
to get all these milestones that you describe.
Yeah, I've never really played the game since that run.
Oh yeah.
I've played it a couple of times just to show people the game and to show things about it, but I've not really played it because there's nothing left for me to do on the game,
I see.
and I have played it enough.
Yeah. There has to be a time to stop at at some point, right?
Yeah, I've got to play other games, and you'll see that there's not many scores on there. That's because the game is quite known for having the save file corrupting, and it's probably happened like 5 times to me now.
I see.
So I do have backups of these saves, but I thought I'd start a new one anyway. So that's why there's only like four scores on there.
Okay.
Which is a bit of a shame. I'll just also state that on Time Crisis 3 on the port, if you're playing the NTSC versions, you have to use the GunCon 2, and the GunCon 1 doesn't work on it for some reason. But if you play the PAL version, the GunCon does work, which is really strange.
That's weird.
Sadly, the PAL version of Time Crisis 3 isn't as good as Time Crisis 2, and there is an issue with the machine gun where every second shot on the machine gun is 1 frame too late.
Oh no.
So it really plays in, because a strategy for me is to hold the trigger down so I get 3 shots.
Yeah.
Because if I shoot 4 shots with a machine gun, the 4th shot's going to be a miss.
Wow.
So I've got to maintain the no miss by holding the trigger just the amount of time to get 3 shots coming out.
Man, that is some nitty gritty stuff right there.
Yeah, and
Dang.
that's a technique that you have to learn to get that no miss hit bonus. Without the no miss hit bonus, you can get 3 million on a good run with just good combos. A good score in this game is like 2 million to 2.5 million, and if you're really good, then 3 million is an achievable target, and then anything above that is like a grind.
Yeah. Holy crap. All right, well, we did have a couple questions I saw in the chat room. One of them right here is
Yeah, it's going a bit quick, but I
you
was
recently you were asked, have you attempted the rescue mission mode, and how much do you hate it? And
Yeah, it's because it's different to the normal game mode. I don't really like the rescue mission on the Time Crisis 3 port. I didn't play it back when the game originally came out. I must admit I've never tried any of the other modes on these games. I originally played the Crisis missions on Time Crisis 2. I originally wrote a guide on GameFAQs like in 2001, obviously, like when the port came out. I never completed that guide though.
Let's see here. There was a slew of questions that near the beginning, I think, that I may have overlooked.
Yeah, I saw the chat scrolling really quick, but there's so much to say.
Yes. Seriously, I mean, after so much time you've spent on these games, I mean, you can, yeah, there is so much to say, and it's a bit overwhelming even, like, like I say, like, because I'm trying to, like, get this episode to introduce people to the series, but at the same time, it's just like you're a master. So it's like, it's hitting both extremes there.
It's like a Battle Garega, you know, when just people go about the most advanced strategies in the game, and it's like, what? I've not beat the game yet.
Yeah.
but yeah, you find that if you just play the game over and over, you'll eventually get to clear it once you see it.
What I notice when I watch you like stream these games, like you do a few attempts, but like you always score a little bit better. It seems after each attempt. But is that like a theme? I would say just playing this game. Do you always see a score improvement usually when you do a new run?
Yeah,
typically.
I usually don't get the best score on my first try in a session. And when I play it in an arcade, there were times where I just played the game once. So a lot of the time in the arcades, my scores wouldn't be as high as what I would get at home.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're playing it over and over in the arcade, it can be a little bit more tiring with the pedal and standing up.
So, like, I think we talked about it a bit before, but do you ever get sore when you're like playing for so long, like, or did you find the right way, the very comfortable way that wasn't an issue?
The only issue I had when I played it a lot when Time Crisis 3 came out was the issue with my legs. Like, I stand on the pedal with my right foot, and I balance myself with my left leg. So I put a lot of weight on my left leg.
Yeah, I'd imagine, yeah.
And I just like float my right leg up and just tap on the pedal. So I did have a lot of pain in my left leg for quite some time. Not much issue with my arms though. It's just more so with my legs.
But you just kind of got used to that over time.
Yeah, I got quite used to it. I did jog at the time, so I guess that impacted on that as well, because you'd feel a lot more pain on every left step.
Yeah, getting that right balance seems like it would take some time to also feel familiar. I know I've experienced that awkwardness of first using the pedal, and you're not sure, like, shifting your weight. It's a little bit difficult how to react all the time, and practice makes perfect.
It does require a bit of pressure to put down the pedal. I mean, I do have the arcade one just in my room right in front of me here, and it's just a plunger inside, and you push it down, and then after a certain amount of time pressing it down, there's a micro switch, and it just hits the plunger hits the micro switch.
Yeah. And
then you can just about hear it, so you know when you've pressed it down.
So, there are pedal peripheral as well?
You can get a pedal, but Namco didn't make an original pedal for the port. You can put in any other controller and just stand on it, and that works.
Right.
So you can put you can plug an arcade stick into the PS2 and just stand on the buttons, and that works.
You can do it that way.
But I don't play it that way. But I have like the arcade boards, so I do have an arcade setup as well.
Yeah.
But I have been having issues trying to set that up for recording and streaming at the moment. But yeah, I do have the actual arcade pedal itself.
Gotcha. Yeah, you had a question here. Any clips or glitches in this game? And I think you did mention some glitch. A glitch. Was it in this one, or was that two?
There's quite a lot of glitches in both games. The most frustrating one is the enemies falling behind the background. Because you can't shoot them once they're behind the background, as you shoot the background instead. Also, on Time Crisis 2, on the port, there's a score carryover glitch. So, at the end of the stage, the chain holds. So, when it shows the score of the stage, it doesn't add the chain to it. And on the arcade, you actually see the score increase on the actual end of areas bit, where it shows the score, and then that number goes up as the combo ends. But on this, the combo holds. So if you do the first bonus route, shoot all the enemies, you get like 54,000 points, and then it awards it at the start of the next area. So I intentionally drop the combo because I keep track of my scores, and it's much easier to do that.
Are there resources for like written guides anywhere for like Lightgun games and that type of thing?
There isn't that much information on the internet. You find that a lot of it is about the story in the games, but of course I'm more interested in scoring.
I think you did mention game facts at some point today.
Yeah, there's basic guides for the older Lightgun games on there, but it's more about getting used to playing it in the arcade than anything. I wouldn't say the guides were very advanced, and watching a video tells much more than what any amount of text can say.
Yeah, I imagine if someone was interested in learning how to score, they could just basically rewatch this over and over and analyze it like you do your own replays. And
yeah, and a lot of people have done that. They've messaged me to say thanks for your videos. I've got a lot better at the game just from watching these videos, and because it shows like really good ways to get high scores in these games. And I must say, I've watched videos from other players to see if there is a possibility to get more points. And I watched them when I wasn't as good.
I imagine the gun cons are pretty cheap too to pick up.
Yeah, they are quite cheap.
Just because it's like, it's just pieces of plastic, basically. Not a lot of people play light gun, it seems.
Well, they're a lot cheaper than the arcade guns, which
Okay.
cost a crazy amount of money because they're all, in bad condition.
So would you say like it's pretty accessible to get into the series if you wanted to just get a gun con and pick up the ports, I guess, or burn some copies or something like that?
From what people say, the hardest problem is having a CRT monitor in their own place.
Oh yeah.
The bigger the screen, the better, I would
Okay.
say. It's very difficult to play a game like this on a 15-inch TV, but if you was playing it on like a 28, 32, 52-inch screen, it's a lot better.
Cool. Gotcha. Okay, well, we can wrap it up then. Man, pretty intense. Yeah, really well done on these replays, and I'm sure I'll have you on for another episode talking about a different light gun game at some point, because you are pretty. There are other ones that you really enjoy as well. I know that. In fact, I think someone asked about some other game that you play. I think way early on.
That tends to happen. I upload a video on one game, and then people just ask about every other game.
Oh yeah.
Do a video on this. I've just spent like hundreds of hours on this game, and now you want me to play that?
Yeah,
It's
what
like-
is this? Like some service that you're providing?
But I usually get around to playing all the games.
I know. What was the one called? Like Pirates, something about
Oh, Deadstone Pirates.
Dead Storm
yeah.
Pirates. Yeah.
The game that I was first in the world on one player, and now I'm first in the world on two player.
Oh yeah. Okay, that was one of the main. Yeah. So your world record in that thing. How do you have other records in light gun games?
It's usually Western record that I hold,
Okay.
because of course, Asian or Japanese records are usually so high that it's quite hard to beat. I beat the highest score on Point Blank 1 quite some time ago, the highest known score.
Wow. Well, you're definitely up there, and definitely a top tier players, I would say.
Yeah. And I'm currently going for the Time Crisis 1 world record. I've currently got the Western record in that now.
Best of luck with that, man. The journeys are real. Dang. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it. Yeah, thanks a lot for talking about these games, and I think I feel like after hearing you talk about this and all the bonuses and stuff, I definitely would be more the wiser now, and approach them a bit more carefully than kind of getting away from the mentality of like, oh crap, like I don't have this game's kicking my ass, I don't want to play it anymore. Basically.
Yeah, it's not too difficult to 1cc these games. It's clearly possible, and you don't have to be pretty good at the game to get the 1cc. You just have to be safe. It's the scoring that brings you back into the game, and that's the same with like shmups. Like
Yeah.
a lot of games are quite easy to clear, but
Yeah.
to get really high scores, you have to invest the time, and that's what makes it enjoyable, and that's what keeps me attracted to these sort of games.
I know. I had one friend who actually he got decent at one light gun game, and that was Area 51, which is the classic light gun game most people know.
Yeah, it's pretty simple game. It's not really advanced as these ones.
I think it was over the course of like 3 months during one summer. We had the game at like the college recreation center, and he would just play go play for an hour a day or pretty much like 4 days a week, and eventually like he was able to one credit clear it, and it was interesting because not often people are actually getting good at arcade games in an arcade, and they're your friends. Well, at least for me, it was hard. It was hard to see any of that for me. It was very scarce to see. It was very scarce for me to see that. Like the only time I really saw one of the main times I saw like some dedicated players was just basically just like a crowd of like Asians surrounding like a Street Fighter Alpha machine, and I was just like, wow, this is a thing. I don't know. I had a bit of a limited arcade experience, but I did have some, thankfully.
I
But
remember when I got into the fighting game scene because of a lot of people playing it, and they were like, "You should stick to playing light gun games because you're good at them."
they just told you.
But I
What
did
what
get good at fighting games then.
did you play 3D fighters or what did you
Um,
play?
Yeah, I played Tekken.
Okay.
I got quite good at the Tekken series, but my thing was like Guilty Gear.
Oh, really? I didn't actually know. You played some.
Yeah, I was pretty good at that for a long time. But but you can always play games like Time Crisis in any arcade, which is
Yeah.
of course what kept me to it as well.
Yeah, that is true. Like Lightgun games are one of the more types of arcade games that are still lasting in modern arcades, at least in America. That is pretty true.
Yeah,
They tend to
like
oversaturate it, which is cool because while they're good casual games, and people, random person just has a beer and plays the Lightgun game or whatever. A lot of these arcades are like now like barcades essentially. But if you want to have a deep game, you can keep playing it, and these games offer so much, as we could see from. He said he spent 2,500 hours on some of these titles. I mean, that's just insane. And
yeah,
then
but
people,
you don't realize it. It's
no,
just
yeah,
like over the course of like a couple of years, you spend like a few hours a day or a night on the game, and then you play it a lot at the weekend at the arcade.
to realize it is the big key there, and that's the overall theme of skill-based gaming. It's like you have to kind of you have to know the score. You have to see somebody play a little bit better than you. It has to be something to give you the idea that hey, I'm going to try to get better at this, and see
Yeah,
see how the game treats me after that.
yeah,
There has to be some
probably.
inspiration, is what I'm trying to get at. It seems.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of inspiration on this game because there was two other people who had 4 million
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, and I couldn't get to it, and I was just fighting for it for ages, and I thought it would never happen. So that was why I went for 4 million. I probably would have stopped at 3.5 if it wasn't for other people in my area having 4 million. But not many people in the world have 4 million. It's just that I saw people who had it, so I wanted it as well.
Yeah. I know that was kind of the case for me with shmups when I first got into them. I had watched people playing Raiden Fighter's Jet, and it had occurred to me that they were actually doing things in the game to get more points and actually play for score. And then once that idea came to me, then I was just fascinated with it, and I watched them, and I became friends with those people and talked to them and asked them about how are you doing that, or what's with this meekless, and what's with setting up these medals in stage one. What are you doing? And
Yeah, that is
without
okay.
that, I probably would have just been just scrubby credit feeding shmups forever. Not even probably would just ignored them again, because there really has to be that catalyst, I think. And whether that's like a good like tutorial, or someone else playing it and just having the proof that someone else can do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't know how to score this high if it wasn't for people making videos or people just investing time and working out the best way to score in every single area.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's almost like a shame too, because it's like these arcade games. I mean, most of them are just designed so well, and it gets unnoticed by the general gaming populace. But that's why I'm doing the show and whatnot. So maybe we'll have a little bit of resurgence of some Time Crisis players now.
Yeah, I hope this will help people more. Anyone who's played the game to know how to score a bit more in it. I know that I get quite a lot of people messaging me with help on these games.
They got little questions. Like, what kind of questions will they ask you?
Well, you always get silly questions. Like people will ask, why can't they play stage 2 and stage 3 on this game? Because if you've got to actually play it on the full story mode, when you select the start on the port, it says story and then stage 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if you shoot the stage, you only play that one stage, and then the game ends. And then when you get back onto that screen, you can't play the next stage because you didn't get to it. So you actually have to play story mode and then play through the whole game. And then you can select an individual stage. And that's probably the most common question I've ever had.
Oh wow.
And then after that is, how can I play this game? Can I play it on a PC? And the answer is you can't really play it on a PC because you need a CRT and you need something that will take the shot when you fire it instantly. Like if you use a PC gun, there's always at least a few frames of delay. So it's just not good enough to play properly. Of course, you could play it like on an emulator, on a PlayStation 2 emulator with a pad, but I don't recommend that at all.
Sure. And I know you've tried like I think wasn't there a Time Crisis collection on the PS3 that used the Move, and I recall you said that was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
is that right?
You can actually use the GunCon 3 for the PlayStation Move collection. And that works better than the PlayStation Move
okay.
wand, as it's called.
So it's like a series of gun cons. It's called the gun con, and they're just 1, 2, and 3, and they work on various
the PlayStation 1, 2, and 3.
PlayStation 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so it's pretty simple like that.
Yeah. So the GunCon 3, it uses 2 sensors that you attach on the top of the TV. There can be a slight delay to when you move the cursor around for it to respond, and it can get a bit frustrating.
Yeah,
but it works better than the move attachment.
Cool. Awesome, man. Sick stuff. All right, well, we're coming up on 2 hours. It was really fun talking about Time Crisis with you. Thanks for coming on, of course, and always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much for having me as well.
And I hope the viewers enjoyed hearing about some Lightgun games as well. Just another genre with just so much there to be explored. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for Awesome Game Replays, episode 13. Thanks, everyone. Suppose have a good upcoming week, and see you guys around.
Thank you. See you, everyone.